Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a video for the second full moon that is taking place in Aquarius. I just started the video and then I stopped it, and so I've kind of turned it back on. I've come back on to do it because the light was beginning to get a little bit annoying, and I'd forgotten to put my lights on in the background as well. And so the effect that you're seeing on the screen, if it comes through on the video, I have no idea how that's happening at all, apart from to say that maybe it's to do with the energies at this time, because the lights have never looked like that before. So anyway, I'm going to continue. As I was saying, this is the full moon in Aquarius reading, the second full moon tarot reading. I will also be doing the astrology for those of you who are interested in watching that part as well. That will also be going out there later. So I'm going to jump in and start, because we've got a lot of cards today. I've been given a lot of cards. So to start off with, of course, we have the full moon energy. Oh, sorry, that is very bright. That's what I was having trouble with. I'm just going to see if I can do something about turning this down. There, that makes a difference already. There we go, that's better. So the full moon energy is about culmination. It's about surrendering, letting go, releasing something. So it's surrendering to the divine energy, the feminine divine energy of the full moon, the emotional side, because the moon represents the feminine emotions. The full moon is actually taking place in Aquarius here at the very last degree, which is why it's the second full moon, because we had the first full moon in Aquarius at the 0 mark. So now we're having a second, which is a very rare event. And so this full moon in Aquarius is all about your individualism, showing the world the real you. It's about not becoming part of the hive mind like way of thinking that is happening out there at this time in a really, really big way. So it's about being true to who you are in many ways, being true to your own individualism, what makes you you, because the Aquarian energy is very much about the individual within the collective. So it is about diversity. And we then have the blue moon, which is all about believing in something that feels impossible. Believe in the impossible, it says. Because a blue moon, as I was saying, is a rare event. You don't get many blue moons. You don't get many full moons in the same sign twice. So the Aquarian energy is a fixed energy, so it's about holding our vision, but because it's at the 29-degree mark, the moon moves on very, very quickly into the 12th house energy, which is also about letting go and releasing. So there is something huge at this time that is being released and let go of. And the energy for the Pisces is mutable energy. So here we've got fixed energy of holding that vision, staying true to something, and then it moves into the Gemini energy very quickly after, and still opposing the sun. So it's still like a full moon in many ways, because it is still opposing the sun in Leo. And the mutable energy is all about change. It's all about something that isn't set in stone, literally, as it says on here. It's like something isn't set in stone. So things are going, it feels like things are going to change very quickly from having that kind of fixed energy and things always being the way that they are, to something changing very rapidly. Because I was also that's the wrong card. I don't know why I've pulled that card out, because that is the wrong card. I don't know why I pulled that card, so that's a bit weird. Let's just have a quick look for the Pisces energy, which is about sacrifice, I believe. Again, letting go, things moving on, releasing the energy. So I thought I had this all sorted. Apparently not. Never good at planning. It's never been my strong point. So let's see. That's the new moon in Pisces. We don't want the new moon. We want the full moon in Pisces, which I don't seem to be able to find. I don't know why I've been given the Gemini moon. The Gemini moon is saying the answers you need are coming. So maybe that has got something to do with the changing energy, and there is going to be a lot of information coming out as well because it's an Aquarius full moon conjunct Jupiter. So the full moon in Pisces is balanced spirituality and practicality. So it's bringing the spiritual down into the earthy, really. It's like, which is kind of these two energies in a way of holding your vision, and nothing is set in stone. It's kind of the same. It feels like a very similar. Sorry, I'm getting all confused here. A similar energy in a way, but it does feel like change is on the way. We've been in a lot of fixed energy lately. We've had a lot of stuck kind of energy where nothing seems to be changing. Everything seems to be staying exactly the same as it has been. And that seems to have been going on for quite some time. So, a lot of cards today, as I was saying. I don't know why I was given that Gemini card, but hey. I don't know why I thought the Gemini card was the Aquarius, the Piscean card, sorry. So let's start the reading with our Celestial Gallery meditation deck card that we have here, which is a very, very powerful image, a very powerful energy in itself. And it kind of goes with this full moon energy again, as in what it talks about is impermanence. And it's the visions of Yamantaka, is what it says. And it says, by visualizing oneself as Yamantaka with his consort, so I can't read that well from there, with his consort existences within the subtle body are concentrated in the central channel at the heart chakra. The signs of disillusion, which normally are only at the moment of death, transform instead into clear light and clear vision. Dissolve all visual energies into the heart and you shall realize Yamantaka, the destroyer of death, is a wrathful manifestation of the bodhisattva of wisdom, Manjushri. Practice terminating death and suddenly you realize the impermanence of the Maya world. And the card and the word for it is literally impermanence, which I kind of feel is a very powerful message for this time in particular, because we are now really moving more and more out of that Piscean age and much more into the Aquarian energy. So we are leaving a lot of this behind. A lot of this, for me, kind of represents that past energy, our past history. It is quite a fearsome looking energy, looking card, but it is about a protection, a protective energy. But everything is impermanent. It is the one thing that you can be certain of is impermanence. And recently for myself, just doing my meditation on my breathing in and out, it's kind of, I'm being told to breathe in life and breathe out death. Because that is basically where we are. We breathe in life, and our breath, when we breathe out, there will be, like, at some point, a final last breath. So it's like that impermanence is always with us. We live with it from the moment we're born in many ways, because we know that at some point there will be no more in-breaths. So it is a sense of kind of breath being the life giver. Breathing that in and then breathing out the impermanence, the change. And another energy that for me is very relevant at this time is the Uranus energy, because that is change, it is impermanence, it is bringing massive change to the world everywhere at this time. So I'm going to really kind of focus on the reading now, because it's already 11 minutes in and I haven't really started the actual reading itself. So we have the first card here as the Emperor, and the Emperor today for me has come through as a matrix energy, right, this energy, and it's covered by the Devil, which we keep getting. We've had the Devil come out quite a few times now. Again, as a challenging energy, a crossing energy, and for me this is the matrix in its entirety in many ways. The Emperor is often seen by many people as the Aries energy. I always see the Emperor as the Leo energy, because I don't see the Emperor as somebody who takes orders, which is more of the Aries energy in a way. Aries is more the general of the army, whereas he works for the Emperor. And the Emperor is the Leo energy, it's the lion, it's the majestic royalty energy. And it is where we have the sun at this time as well. But there's an interesting thing about this card that's come through for me today, is as he's standing by this tree, it's almost like this energy stepped away from the natural, from the nature, from having that natural connection, purely because the masculine energy has to create outwardly. It creates with nature, it creates with everything around itself. It does not create inwardly in the same way. It creates with its mind, and then it shows that through its physical creation outwardly. So there is a disconnect somewhere there already with what is a natural understanding of the rhythms of life and the ebb and flow. And it being covered by the Devil energy, it's really coming through really strongly as this whole matrix that has built up around this very patriarchal society that we live in, that has been driven by this very masculine energy, which I do actually talk about in the astrology reading as well. It comes out very strongly in the astrology at this time. And this energy is being challenged at this time as well. And so the Devil energy in astrology would represent the energy of Saturn or Capricorn. And Saturn is a very restrictive kind of quality. It is establishment. It is also temptation. It's also those things that we are drawn to that are not necessarily good for us, not necessarily healthy for us, but we can't stop ourselves. It's like something that pulls us in. So that's what's come through with these cards for me at this time. And in our heads, and what we're aware of is this Six of Wands, which is representing a lack of victory because it's in reverse. And again, I'm seeing these as being like a prison, like prison bars in a way, which the Devil energy and this very patriarchal energy as well kind of connects in together with this, because there is a lack of victory here. There's a feeling of not being able to move forward, not being recognized, not being seen, not being understood. And I just want to add to this as well. I'm being told to add to this. That this energy isn't a bad energy. It's not like it's a bad energy. It's like, but it is like, it's an imbalanced energy. It's imbalanced. And there can also be a lot of fear. It can be fear driven, this energy as well. Can be very controlling, which is why it's coming through. The whole thing is coming through as this matrix energy. Very powerful matrix. If you don't know what I mean by the matrix, it's what's all around us but we're not aware of. It's like we live within it but we don't see it, because we're so kind of sucked into it that we can't see the wood for the trees in many ways. Which is interesting, because it's like he's come out of nature and he's created this here. So he's walked away from nature. And he's also with the Devil energy as well. It can be abuse, like an over abusive energy of not giving back. What you put in. But it is upright. The Emperor energy is upright. So it's like it wants to be a positive energy. It wants to be a force for good. It wants to come from the heart and have courage. Because this isn't just about the masculine energy within men alone. It is also that driving energy within the feminine as well. Because we all have both within us. But for a long time now, it has been kind of very much divided. And it still is. It's part of that matrix, part of that division, part of the duality of life in many ways. But we've almost kind of been forced to see things as separate energies. Rather than understanding that we all have both within us. And along with this Six of Wands and this Victory card here, again, it looks to me like if you look there, it's kind of got these vine leaves behind it. And it looks as though it has kind of been shut off and kind of shut out and put into like behind bars. Like a prison cell. Is how it's coming through. Like nature. Like this tree here. And of course vine leaves also restrict and constrict and feed off of the other energy. They are quite parasitical. Vine leaves, vines themselves. And with the Daughter of Swords in the south, this is the Knight of Swords. So this is quite a fast moving energy. It's an energy that is bringing in new ideas, new ways of being. You see there he's got this snake. And there's also this snake in the devil energy here. So this snake can be seen as something, I suppose, evil, for want of a better word. The serpent energy. But there is also this snake here, which is representative of the third eye, of the awakening of the third eye, which I've been talking about in my readings for a few months now, because it's coming through quite strongly. This awakening of consciousness of the third eye in particular. So this could also have something to do with that restriction, that kind of blockage, that being shut off, closed down. And what we're needing to do is to open from a place of conscious awareness. Because this energy as well, let me just put these two together. The snake energy can also be seen as that feminine earth energy. Ley lines, the energy that runs through the earth, that is the earth. It was depicted in a way by a snake. It was like the snake represented that kind of energy. Also because they shed their skin as well, so they transform, they grow, evolve in actual life. Rather than dying, they shed that skin while they're still living, which is quite a rare occurrence as well. So symbolically they were seen as being connected to the earth energy, the goddess energy in many ways. And they also represent the Kundalini energy within us, or the chi energy, or whichever energy you would like to call it. But the Kundalini energy kind of sits at the base of the spine and rises up through the chakra system to come out. You could also see it here as this energy like behind. Like the crown chakra. But the crown chakra energy comes down and it's like a meeting. Of the energy within ourselves that's always been there, that we've kind of become disconnected from. And may even not want to look at or recognize or kind of see it. Or there's a very strong kind of historical feel to this reading today. Like it's kind of talking about lots of I keep getting like culmination, like it's culmination energy. It's things that are being ended, finished, moving beyond. Because we have, as the energy moving away, the Hangman energy, which is in reverse, and the Five of Stones, which is also in reverse. And the Hangman energy, literally for me, is this energy of we've had to sacrifice a lot over this last 18 or so months. We've all kind of been put into this place of not really knowing. The Hangman speaks of kind of trying to get a different perspective, trying to see things from a different vantage point. When you hang upside down, the blood rushes to your head, and so you see things differently. And it feeds your brain as well, which is why a lot of yogis spend a lot of time upside down on their heads. But in this particular case, the Hangman energy is in reverse. So he's no longer hanging upside down. So there's a sense of like, this is going on for too long. And I do believe we got this card in the same place last time as well. It's like this is dragging on now. It's like we really need to come down off of this cross, or off of this like out of this energy. We need to get out of this energy, but we're in this Five of Stones as well, which is literally the Five of Pentacles, that feeling of being left out in the cold, feeling of being shut out. I mean, this for me is the perfect lockdown scenario, these two cards here. Having to kind of look at things again from a different perspective, and at the same time feeling kind of helpless. But it is also a card of sacrifice as well, the Hangman. It is about sacrificing, letting go in order for something new to come in. It is, again, it's that kind of culmination energy. It's like saying, you know, the longer that you keep that energy in your life, the you know, the more stagnant it becomes, the more kind of stuck in the doldrums we become, the more kind of complacent and just like nothing new comes in. There's no new energy to work with, to change our lives, for us to evolve into different beings or grow or understand something. But there's also, I feel, a lot of kind of emptiness in this card today as well, the Five of Pentacles. And a lot of fear. It is really like a not knowing energy that's coming through. Not knowing what's next, not knowing what to do about it. not knowing how to change anything. What's the best way to step forward? What's the best solution to the problem? And underneath this we have the Two of Pentacles, which is in our subconscious realm, but we're not quite so certain of or sure of or aware of. The Two of Pentacles, or the Two of Stones as it is in this particular card, for me always is an energy of that kind of past and future. So it's that in-between. It is literally, I suppose, this energy here. It's that in-between stage of still being in the past, but knowing that we have to move into that future. Knowing that there's something else there, which is beckoning us, kind of drawing us. But at the same time, we're also being kind of pulled back to what we know, to the temptations, to the matrix. What we know is, you know, it's like better the devil you know than the one that you don't. So that it's kind of like standing in between. It's like that in-between realm, that in-between world. One foot in one, the other foot in the future, like one foot in the past, one foot in our future. But not having actually made a move. So we're still kind of backwards and forwards. There's that kind of uncertainty. And it also looks to me as well like this hole. It's like this stone here is going to fall into this hole here, this blackness, this void. Whereas this is going to rise, is how it's coming through. Like this is our past. So this is going to fall into this void, into this unknown, like no longer needed. Like being sucked into like all of this matrix energy here, which is not for our benefit. It's not for our good. It's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not productive or creative in a balanced way, and that's something else that the Two of Pentacles talks about as well, because it is a card of harmony and balance. But that's how it's kind of presenting itself to me today, is this kind of like this stone, this past energy is going to, it just feels like it's sucked into this void, because it's no longer what we need. It's like sorry, it's like it's not a part of our future. It just isn't a part of our future. It's just not beneficial for our future. And talking of the future, we have the Star here in reverse. A lot of reverse cards on the table today. A lot of reverse cards. So, so the Star is the Aquarian energy. It represents the energy of Aquarius. It represents hope for the future, but it is in reverse. And so there is this part of us which I feel is this, again, it's this matrix energy. It's this kind of like losing hope with everything that we're seeing going on around us at this time. It's almost like giving up on something, giving up, giving in, like not connecting with our destiny, because it also talks about the Star, about destiny, connecting here. If you see that there's all these these lights around this star. It's kind of saying, you know, this is your star. This is where you should be heading, if you like. It's the hope, it's the optimism, it's the future. But when it's in reverse, it does talk about not seeing that, or not feeling it. Not feeling it. It's like it's not being recognized, it's not being felt. We're not seeing the connection with that higher consciousness that is coming in at this time, which is this energy here. For me, it's kind of representing also like old world, old paradigm, and new world, new paradigm, new energy coming through. And okay, so one of the reasons that this is going to be a time of losing hope in many ways is because as we move forward, things are going to become very, what's the word I'm looking for, almost unreal. Like as this kind of matrix energy here falls away, there's going to be this kind of period of time where we're going to feel very disconnected. Not just from what am I getting here? Disconnected from a sense of stability. Like it's going to feel very unstable. Like we're going to feel as though things are not as they should be, or not as they appear to be. But it's Aquarius energy as well, so there is this kind of, it's like the transition stage coming in, and the transition stage is never an easy stage. So we then have what for me is more Aquarian energy, because I see the Magician as Aquarius energy, because it's all about that higher understanding of creation, and that we are creating our future in every moment collectively, because the Aquarian energy is also about the collective. So there is a disconnection, it feels, from understanding how things have been to moving into how things are, and are going to become more so as we move further into the Aquarian energy. And so the Magician in the upright is that sense of understanding our environment, understanding the elements around us, like the elemental side of things, and how we are, how everything is connected. There is this connection through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our drive, our fire, our passion. The wands, the cup is the emotions, the sword is the intellect, the mind, the thought, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we respond, the results we get, which is the pentacle energy itself as well, like the stone as it is here. Is it turning up in the 3D? It's how we see what we are constantly focusing our attention on. But we have the Strength card with it, which is in reverse. And so the Strength card it's interesting again because there's that snake energy. But in this card, it's almost like she is grappling that snake. She has hold of it. She has her own inner strength. But it's in reverse. So there is this kind of feeling of not only of lack of inner strength or losing hope and not having that strength to move forward, to understand things from a higher vantage point with the Magician energy here. Because the Magician energy is really kind of saying that this is constant, this is ongoing, this isn't something that we just switch on and switch off. This manifestation energy is constant in our lives. But the Strength card can also talk about a need for maturity and balance. To become mature within ourselves, that inner strength is to become mature, to not be affected so much by the outside world, to keep our focus where it needs to be, rather than being distracted. It's interesting as well that it is a female energy here that's fighting this snake. It's not like it's a masculine card. But for me, the Strength card talks about that balance between the masculine and the feminine, the knowing when to roar and when to be more gentle about something, that is also a strength. That has also maybe, that is something that has been also denied as well. Well, I wouldn't say maybe, it is something that has been denied, that is a strength, being gentle. It's like it's all very masculine driven. It's all like might is right kind of energy. In order to be strong, you have to have this outward kind of show of aggression. So what I feel it's kind of saying is that we need to get that balance right within ourselves in order to understand how we're going to create and manifest and move forward into this new paradigm, this new paradigm shift, this new dimension that is coming in. And in our environment at this time, we have another two reverse energies. The Hierophant in reverse, and also the Queen of Swords is in reverse. The Hierophant is an interesting card. A lot of people see it as a Taurus card. Personally, I don't. I see it as a Sagittarius card. I don't follow the Aleister Crowley school of tarot. Never have, and not intending to start anytime soon. So if you're kind of caught up in the idea that this is the Taurus card, then fair enough, that's entirely up to you. But personally, I see it more as a Sagittarius because it's about faith and religion, which is much more Sagittarius Jupiterian energy. And the word Hierophant is an interesting word as well because it originates from the word Pontifex. And I have spoken about this in other tarot readings before. And Pontifex literally meant bridge. So the Hierophant was seen as the bridge between the spiritual domain and the physical domain. So the Hierophant would also have been a healer at one point as well, which is also another reason why I see this more as a kind of Sagittarian Centaur Chiron kind of card rather than just a Taurus energy. I don't see it so much as the bull at all. So this would have been the healer because people would have turned to this. Originally it probably would have been the shaman because people would have turned to this person when they needed healing, whether that was healing in their faith or physical healing. This would have been the healer, which for me is the Chiron energy, the wounded healer. Known as the wounded healer because he could heal everybody else's wounds, but he couldn't heal his own. Again, that comes out in the astrology as well, in the write-up that I've done, which I will be putting out at a later date. And I'm seeing this Mother of Swords as well as like, I mean, the Egyptians were very much focused. If you see, it's covered in tiny, tiny, tiny little yellow stars. And this is Nut, who was known as Night. That's where we get the word night from. And the Egyptians were very much focused on the sky. They were the first people, or one of the first people, to understand the night skies and the astrology. They were very much in tune with the astrology and the stars that came up and how things would happen when certain stars appeared, and there's all these stars, and it's kind of looking to me like a kind of net, kind of hiding, like something being hidden behind the net. And the Mother of Swords is that energy of perception, of seeing things clearly, of knowing when you're being told the truth or not being told the truth. It's very discerning energy, but it's in reverse. So it could be that we feel at this time that there's a lot of things that we're being told that are not true, because another part of the Sagittarius energy and the Chiron energy and the Hierophant energy as well is truth. Because we turn to the shaman, or we turn to the Hierophant, we turn to the priest or whoever they are in modern day life, we would turn to them for the truth. We want to know the truth. But this is saying that we haven't necessarily been given that truth, that there's a veil here. There's still a lot, because what else the Hierophant would have had a lot of would have been knowledge, as did this kind of Queen of Swords as well. She was very knowledgeable. And she is a very knowledgeable energy. For me, she kind of represents the how can you put it? It is the mind, it is the thoughts, it is the kind of like, you know, it's the ancient wisdom. But there is this kind of veil, it feels like, over the top of this. Like something's being hidden. Something isn't completely being, we're not being given all the answers. We're not being given the key as well, because that's something else. If you look at the Hierophant, he's got this light here and also this key down here. And the key, of course, unlocks things. It unlocks doors to knowledge. In our brain, we have like a key and lock effect to unlocking memories or wisdom, knowledge, things that we've learnt. And a lot of that also comes down to emotional attachment to something as well, driven by the emotions. But it's interesting because we do actually have in our hopes and our fears the Eight of Stones, which is called the knowledge card in this. Because the Eight of Stones is about kind of going into something deeper. And I'm just kind of noticing how each one of these stones is very, very solid. And then there's this one, which is like a bubble. So it hasn't kind of solidified, is what I'm getting here. It's kind of, it's still in its transforming stage. It's still, so each of these is kind of knowledge that we've learned, experiences that we've had. But this one is kind of where we are still in the process, because nothing has become solid. It's like that Gemini energy, that mutable energy of like nothing is written in stone. Because it hasn't become fixed. And we're actually moving, as I was saying, like the moon is going to move out, or has moved out of the fixed energy and into that mutable energy of Pisces. So it's gone from this kind of very fixed, this is how it is, this is how it's always been, that nothing's ever going to change kind of energy, into this much more mutable kind of, well, let's see what happens kind of energy, in a very fast period of time as well. It's been a very kind of very fast movement. Which the Knight of Swords is very fast, quick moving energy. So it's kind of saying to me that we are open to this new knowledge. We are open to this new higher consciousness, this understanding of wanting to know more. It is like all of this, again, it's kind of like condensed into this stone here, all of this. And this one here is kind of representing this bubble for me as well. Again, I see it as rising, like this is rising up, like because a bubble floats, it rises, whereas the stones fall, they fall down because they're heavier. So it's like falling away is what I'm getting here. Things that are falling away. Old ideas, old ways of doing things, being stuck in the same way of doing things. Like I was saying, like, you know, things being traditional and it has to be done this way because it's always been done this way. There is no other way of doing it. It's like all of that is going to be questioned and kind of, again, I see this as like seeking that knowledge as to why or how things have to always be that way. So we're finishing the reading here with the Mother of Stones in the West, and she is the Queen of Pentacles, and she is also in reverse. And of course the Native American, because she's a Native American Indian here, and the Native American Indians were very connected to everything. Let's have a quick look at this. Again, it's kind of coming out from, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I've only just kind of realised what that is. So we have this, I don't know if you can see it very well. Again, it's like this is the centre, and it seems to me as though it's coming, it's radiating out from this third eye, perception, understanding, and there's all this is kind of, again, that matrix energy. This is Spider Woman. And there is this little being right here. It actually is a human. It's not a spider, I don't think. But it's kind of caught maybe like this web. But this web can also be seen as the web, not just the web of life and all the connections within it. Which looks a bit like a labyrinth as well. As well as a kind of bit of a Mandela thing about it, and a cobweb, but or a web in general. But it's like this person is entering into this web. If you look at it that way up, I don't know if you can see that any better, but he's kind of entering, this little blob here is a person, and he is entering into this web, almost like kind of being born, like entering into the matrix. But it's in reverse. So it almost looks like he's being spat back out, is how it's kind of coming through. Like he's coming out. It's like he's been all around here. And now he's kind of coming out of it rather than going in it. It's like he's now being kind of pushed out beyond the matrix. It's like saying there is much more to this than meets the eye. So let's see what we have for our confirmation energy here. For the Aquarian full moon, I'm just going to take a quick slurp of my tea. Tulsi tea, so good. Okay. Want me to shuffle them? Okay. Right. Confirmation for this full moon. So we have another major arcana card over the top of the Emperor and the Devil energy. We have the Freya card, which again is actually the Emperor. This is the Emperor energy because this is the Goddess deck of cards. So that is twice, which is very interesting because we've got like the masculine and the feminine energy of the same card. And I was kind of talking about how that has been denied in many ways, that feminine side. And also about how we have both those energies within us, like the masculine and the feminine is within all of us here. So it's kind of confirming that energy for me here with the masculine card and the feminine side of the Emperor energy as well. That's quite powerful. And she came out upright as well, as did the Emperor. But it is like this devil energy, kind of in between. I'm also seeing it as this devil energy in between here. Kind of stopping that balance from occurring. Stopping this two, like the masculine and the feminine energy from being in balance, working together. It's kind of dividing, is how I'm seeing this. That division, that rift. Because this is our challenge. Our challenge is to kind of overcome this devil energy, which has been coming out a lot in our full moon and new moon readings. I am aware of how much devil energy there is around at this time, and that energy being, you know, what sucks us back in, what keeps us trapped, what keeps us in our comfort zone, but also our uncomfort zone at the same time, because it's not allowing us to actually come from a place of who we truly are. because the devil of energy can be all types of temptation. It's all those things that kind of, you know, it can be relationships that aren't good for us. It can be addictions that aren't good for us. And it's having the willpower and the strength as well with the Emperor energy, the willpower to overcome it. So for the masculine energy, it's about accepting the feminine within them, literally. And for the feminine energy, it's about accepting that masculine and not allowing this here to kind of drive that division. Because I'm also seeing this very much as establishment energy, like controlling establishment energy. I've spoken about the devil being that kind of energy for me in the past, particularly when it comes to collective readings, which this is. And very interestingly, above in our heads with the energy of the Six of Wands and the Knight of Swords, we have the Moon, Diana, the Huntress. It is, when it's upright for me, it is always, the full moon is always, oh sorry, when it's upright, it's always the full moon. If it's in reverse, then it represents the new moon, because it's things that are hidden rather than things with the full moon, culmination, things that are obvious. Our emotions, when the full moon, at the time of full moon, our emotions are often much more outward, much more expressive. And again, the moon is the emotions. It is also, it represents the collective. It represents the soul. Also represents here, if I'm seeing it as aiming true, because Diana was known as the goddess of the hunt. Because on a full moon you could go hunting and see things much more clearly. But also, I mean, there's these deer as well here, hiding behind these trees, and she's kind of coming over as this protectress. Like she's protecting these deer rather than just out hunting them. She's also helping them or trying to help them to not be seen, because as I was saying, the moon shows all our our flaws, our vulnerabilities is what's coming through here. Our feelings of, so I'm also seeing this, right, so we've got the victory card here, which is in reverse, which I was saying is about not being seen and not recognizing something. And also the kind of prison of this, of nature itself, having been kind of kept in this matrix, like controlled. This need to control nature, which is also the female energy, which is also the moon. Because women are very much more governed by the moon than men. Men are also affected by it. I'm not saying they're not, but it doesn't have so much control over the female body. And these trees here, sorry, it doesn't have as much effect as it does on the female body. And these trees here, I'm also kind of seeing it in the same vein as these. It's like that prison, like keeping something held back, imprisoned. And there's a need for with the Daughter of Swords here as well, there's a need here for understanding, clarity, insight. Ices also would represent the moon energy in many ways as well, that feminine energy. And what's coming through quite strongly is this imbalance of this feminine energy. Which I think we are going to see a lot more rising up of this energy, to be honest. Because it is like this has been denied for so long. This energy has been denied for so long. It's like it's going to break out, it's going to break free. We have the Queen of Staves here as well. Another very strong, confident female energy over the top of the Hangman and the Five of Stones. So this is about finding that power from within. There's a similarity here as well, I feel, because this is the Emperor energy, the female Emperor. Normally would be known as the Empress, but the Queen of Staves is very confident when she's upright. She's a very confident, very powerful, very creative, very driven energy. It's almost like the fire, it feels like the fire in the belly, like something kind of igniting something here, something that's been stagnant for a long time. As I was saying, this kind of hanging in there energy with the Hangman, literally, this kind of sacrificing everything that we have. And the Queen of Staves here for me is kind of saying, you know, it's time to, for whatever we've learnt, whatever we've kind of gone through there, it's time to bring it forward, to bring it out into the open, which I think is the moon energy here as well. It's kind of time to bring it out into the open, to no longer kind of hide in the shadows. This isn't a time to hide in the shadows. This is a time to be confident and to be seen. Male or female. So let's see why the Two of Stones is here. Almost. Not quite up. There we go. I'm going to take that one because those two didn't come out upright. So we have the Sun in reverse. Which is interesting because we have both the Sun and the Moon. So again, we have the masculine and the feminine, and we also have the same kind of energy here, because the Sun, for me, the Leo energy, is the Emperor energy. And if you think about our history, if you think about where we're coming from, a lot of it has been driven by this masculine energy, this need to kind of conquer and create and destroy and control. Whereas the feminine energy is much more about kind of creating security and but it's like that, you know, you need the both, you need the balance of the two. You can't bring life into the world either without both of those energies. It's just not possible. Just not possible. So for me, it is, again, with the Sun in reverse, it's kind of saying the same thing. It's kind of saying that there has been this kind of really strong imbalance of this very masculine driven energy, this powerful kind of sense of might is right. Another interesting thing as well about the Moon and the Sun is that, you know, the sun lights the Moon. Without the Sun, the Moon wouldn't have its own light, which is why the light of the Moon is never as powerful. It's never as intense in the same way. Like the Sun's intense, but it's intense in the sense you go out in it, you can get burnt in it, it can damage you. Whereas the feminine energy, you go out in the Moon and you don't get burnt. It's intense in much more of an emotional sense than a physical sense. You don't get the same reaction from the Moon as you do from the Sun. So again, the Sun has much more of a or it has the potential, shall we say, the potential to do much more damage. In the physical sense. But the Moon can also do more damage on an emotional sense. Again, it feels like it's that need for harmony and balance, because they are literally one above the other, which is interesting as well. So this is what's in our head and what's above us, which is this stone here, and this is what's below and what we're not so aware of. This is the subconscious and this is the conscious, which again is in reverse. because the subconscious is ruled by the moon, whereas the conscious is kind of ruled by the intellect, the sun, in that sense, the awareness, the thinking, the much more I don't like using the word dominant, but in some ways it is a much more dominant energy. So, the star. Star in reverse. Why is the star in reverse? Just checking out that time, which is moving on rapidly. Why is the star in reverse? What do we need to know about the star, the Aquarius energy that is coming in? Our future. Nice. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands, which is a lovely energy because it talks about something being sparked, a new creative idea, awakening to something, particularly with this sun behind it. It's very bright. Light shining on it. And then we have the Eight of Swords. In reverse. Over the top of this star energy in reverse as well. So it's the energy of feeling, of losing hope, of not feeling optimistic about the way that things are, our future. But this energy here is kind of saying that, you know, underneath it all, behind it all, there is this hope, this new spark, this new life, this spark of life that is coming through, coming in, a new beginning, a new creative beginning as well. And the Eight of Swords here in reverse is kind of saying that we've been trapped. It feels like trapped too long in just that kind of mindset of creating, like literally just via the mind, from the mind. And we've kind of got ourselves trapped in this idea, again, of how things should be. Because the Eight of Swords is very much about kind of getting trapped in a way of thinking. I kind of see it as like continuing to create the future from the past. Because you're trapped in that mindset and you keep kind of going on that wheel, that kind of, it's kind of, that, yeah, like that thought, the same pattern, which always leads you into the same result. But it's coming from past energy, because it's an energy that hasn't been let go of or released with the Eight. It's kind of caught up, consuming trapped in it, not being able to see a way out of it. So this ace here is kind of saying to me that there is this way out. There is this new start. We can't see it though because we're blindfolded and we're not really taking much notice of what's going on around us. We may not want to see as well. There could be, it feels like because this is not going to be an easy time, as I said earlier, that we're moving into. There is going to be a lot of change. A lot of things falling away, as I was saying. A lot of people, possibly, that we are close to and have attachments with, who are going to leave our lives in one way or another. And because of that, we may feel trapped. We may literally feel as though we are trapped in that place of nothing is ever going to change, nothing is ever going to, we're never going to get out of this. This is how it's going to be. And this is a collective reading, remember, as well. So this is kind of like a mindset, a collective mindset of getting stuck and trapped and literally not wanting to see what is going on around us. Because she's lying there with her hands over her face, distraught, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to change it. But this Ace of Wands that is coming in will say, well, kind of says to me that there is this new day dawning, there is this fresh beginning coming in. There is this new start, this new life. But we may not see it immediately. We may not be aware of it. Because we are kind of trapped and caught up in everything else that is happening around us. Which is also this magician energy down here as well, this manifestation energy. As I was saying, we are constantly manifesting and creating. And we're doing it either from a place of strength or a place of weakness. Either from a place of being, either from a place of being controlled and fearing the worst, or from a place of strength of who we are. Of standing up. That's what's coming through. But because the Strength card is in reverse, it does feel as though there is this sense of coming, like, of manifesting or creating, if you like, from a place of weakness. Possibly also from a place of not realising that that's what we're doing. That that's how it is, that's how it works, that is life. because we're constantly having to battle other things as well, constantly having to fight off distractions. Like the matrix energy again is what's coming through, like we're just trying to stay afloat, stay above things. So that we are constantly in this place of weakness. Sorry about that. Flying cards. Oh, well, I wasn't going to take these, but I am going to take them now because we've got the Strength card come out twice. Both times in reverse. So there is definitely this sense of weakness. Not coming from a place of strength. That inner knowing, that strength, like that sovereignty within you that kind of like questions whether or not somebody has the right to do something to you that you don't want done, but because you haven't got that sense of strength, of like inner strength, strength of character, strength of will, power. It could also be this Sun card here as well, because the Sun in reverse can also be like lack of vitality, lack of inner strength again, lack of courage, lack of willpower. But it also came out, first of all, the Six of Pentacles came out, which is a card of compromise, a card of being in a position of seemingly, now this is interesting. Okay, so with these two Strength cards here, the Six of Pentacles can appear as though the person here who's sitting on this throne, and these two girls are obviously are handmaidens by the looks of things. It can appear as though this is the one with the strength or the power or the like with Six of Pentacles or with Pentacles in general, it can have something to do with how can I put this? Like seeming that somebody has what you need, and because they have what you need, you have to lower yourself to them. Because this is an Indian card as well, which is interesting because there is a caste system within that as well, which kind of relates to our own elite system in the world today, where some people kind of put themselves on this pedestal and believe that they have more rights because they have more wealth, they have more abundance in their lives. So what I was going to say was these two appear to be in a position of weakness, and she appears to be in a position of strength, but she actually needs these two here just as much as they need her, because she couldn't do what they do because it's not in her character. It's like, you know, she couldn't wash her clothes, or, you know, that's just an example of what the lower caste needs to do for the higher caste. So it appears that she has more control, and that they are coming from this place of weakness because of that. Because they believe that without this person here, they themselves would not get what they need as well. Which is why it's kind of known as a compromise card, but it can also be known as a card of kind of only giving what you want to give, like a small amount, like just giving enough to keep that person or that situation going. So you just give enough, no more than just that amount. And that's kind of where we are at in many ways. Almost like Stockholm syndrome is what I'm being told. Take of that, make of that what you will, but that's what I'm being told. And we have it, of course, with this magician energy here as well, which is kind of saying, you know, that we are the ones that have the ability to change this. We can manifest it in any way we want, but we're kept in this place of weakness, manifesting from this place of weakness or belief in our weakness. Because we also have the Three of Swords here as well. And so the Three of Swords to me is kind of saying that in order to keep us in this place of weakness, we have to be kept wounded, unhappy. Unhappy with our lives, unhappy with our environment, our relationships. With who we are, with our history, like our family history. And these woundings can get passed down, passed on. Which is also where I feel like, you know, we're coming from that place of past energy. But the Magician is upright, so he's also saying, you know, this is the Aquarian energy as well. And it is also the first card within the tarot deck. So it's the fool stepping out on his journey. It's the fool starting his journey, starting his new life, if you like, and learning to create and manifest with all his tools. And his tools are his cup of emotions, his spear of creativity and desire, his sword of intellect and discernment, and bringing it all into the 3D world, which is where we see it manifest. And also the rewards that we receive. So it does feel as though there is this kind of shifting of perception on some level. But there is this being kept in this place of weakness, which is not for our benefit. But what is in our benefit is the Temperance card, which is about balance. about bringing balance in, and it is in our environment. It's over the top of the Hierophant card and the Queen of Swords card. Balance is also temperance. So it's also about harmony. It's also on some level about understanding our, because I see this as her, like her hands here are very much kind of, they're kind of electrified. It's kind of like they are that's how it comes through, this kind of electrifying energy. Okay, so temperance. Is an energy of, I suppose, again, that balance between the masculine and the feminine, but it also talks about communication and to keep things balanced. We need to communicate, and we need to listen, because communication isn't just about verbal, it's also about hearing, it's also about taking in what we're being told as well. But it's come out over the top of the Hierophant and the Mother of Swords, as I was saying, which feels to me as though something's being hidden here. And then the kind of ancient wisdom and the ancient knowledge, the key to, possibly the key to ourselves as well. The key to understanding, the key to kind of being able to see behind that veil is also what's coming through here. But in order to do so, there has to be harmony and balance within as well as without. Because it's only by having that balance within ourselves are we going to kind of outwardly reflect that. Yeah, it feels like a sense of balance, harmony. Can also be patience as well. Temperance can also be like waiting for the divine timing for things to come together. It's an alchemical card as well, of kind of changes within ourselves. Like working within our masculine, again, that masculine and feminine kind of connection between ourselves. Right relationship to ourselves brings right relationship with other people, is what I'm being told. So it is about, and also maturity as well. Again, this sense of kind of growing up, of coming out of the more kind of childlike way of understanding or looking at life. But it also feels as though something being revealed. is what when I first saw this card, it felt like, oh, something is going to be revealed. And maybe the something that's going to be revealed is us, about us. I just see these things here, like healing, like a healing happening here. Like this energy that's coming out of our hands is like that healing energy, like connecting to that energy, connecting to the universal energy of no longer being disconnected. Of something being revealed, which has been long hidden. It's also coming through like an awakening energy as well. Like kind of a shocking, awakening, electrifying. And we have the King of Pentacles over the top of the Eight of Stones. Both earth energy, both pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is that maturer side of ourselves. It is in many ways the manifestation, like the mini manifestation card of the magician, if you like. Like bringing the reality, like bringing the manifestation into the real realm, into the world. Like what I'm getting here is it's like this, as I was saying earlier, this bubble here being the new like all of this old experience dropping away and being left with this bubble here. But the King of Pentacles, it's like success. It's like the best success you can imagine or want or believe. It is the abundance energy in that sense. It is like top of the tree in the sense of we have got to where we want to be in the material realm, because it is all about the material realm. But it is just a hope. It is a hope and a fear, and in many ways this is what we aim for. We all in many ways are brought up to believe that this is the end, this is what we want. We want large amounts of everything and then we're successful. So it's kind of saying, you know, we've been there, we've kind of done that in a way. We've kind of tried that whole idea of this is success. Even though I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but again, I feel as though it's kind of changing that kind of idea of, to be successful, you have to do things a certain way. You have to do this to get that, to be able to have this, if you like. Where it feels like this is kind of saying, the two of them together are kind of saying that even when we've got all of that, even when it's all around us, it's always there. That abundance is always there. There is something about, because this is the card of knowledge and kind of yeah, knowledge gained, experience lived is our success. It is our gold, if you like, because it makes us who we are. It makes us who we are. It makes us who we're going to become. So knowledge. Especially, I feel, as we move further into the Aquarian age, knowledge is going to be very much sought after. Those with knowledge will be seen as being valuable, as having worth. They will know their self-worth as well, their own worth. And lastly, over the top of this Mother of Stones, we have Athena, who here she's shown as the Justice card. But it's in reverse, and she is weaving, which is interesting because this is kind of weaving as well. A spider weaves a cobweb, and she is also weaving. So there's a sense here of kind of weaving like everything is interlinked, everything is connected. Every action has a reaction, has a consequence. So in reverse, it's kind of saying to me that we have to be careful not to use that justice in a way that's not going to be beneficial, because there's going to be justice wanted. But we have to be careful because we're starting something new. So how are we going to start out? this new energy. Both of these cards as I say, both these cards have kind of quite a yellow look to them as well, and yellow is the the solar chakra. So again, it's about kind of standing in our power and our confidence, the solar energy. Well, what's also coming through is this kind of like revenge is not a path that we should go down, because we can weave ourselves into new karmic experiences. I think there's another card there that was turned over. Or am I just imagining things? Nope, there is another card. Interesting. That one flipped earlier as well. I obviously didn't see it because it didn't just flip when I was shuffling that time. So we have transformation, which is also in reverse. So transformation is the death card. Big change. Massive change. Again, in reverse. I have said this before previously in a reading that I've done as well, that there is going to be a lot of transformational loss on the planet. A lot of people are going to choose to remove themselves, and this could be their karma, their justice from some other experience, some other lifetime. The choices that they're making now. And it could be difficult for us to accept that those choices are theirs. And we may want to see revenge because of that. We may want to, like, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of revenge. But that's kind of, that's old paradigm. That's the old paradigm energy. The kind of might is right energy is how it's feeling. It's kind of saying, you know, we have to allow universal justice. To take its course. That's also kind of what I'm seeing here as well, with this individual that's kind of leaving this matrix energy. That it's their choice. With the justice and the death card together, I mean, that's pretty powerful energy. Very powerful energy. And that's also why I feel that we're going to, a lot of us are going to feel like this. But it is all as well, what's coming through here as well, it is all about frequency and vibration. And this understanding of vibration and frequency and kind of just beyond the veil. That there is no ending, just as there is no real kind of beginning. It all kind of, it is just created from the same from our actions, from our previous actions. So it's kind of saying don't allow our previous actions to continue. As I was saying here, you know, from the past, stop creating from the past. We need to stop creating from the past and staying trapped in that energy. But there is going to be big transformational movement off planet. And I'm just going to quickly pull a Keeper of Light card here as well. And for me as well, the Justice and the Death card together are kind of saying that these things are out of our hands. It is out of our hands. We are not responsible for it as well, with the Spider Woman energy there. It is the universe that is kind of creating this, and we are all a part of that universe. And so we have to kind of recognize and honor people's choices. So what we got here is Maharavata Babaji, which is soul expansion. And it says your consciousness is expanding. You understand the connection between all things, which is really interesting. It came out upside down as well, so that means that it is a really important message at this time. But for me, that really is interesting, because my astrology reading, I'm actually calling it expanding into consciousness, or expanding consciousness. So that is quite interesting, as I was saying, for me. So there he is. So Mahavata means great incarnation or avatar, and Babaji means sacred father. Mahavata Babaji is a deeply respected master yogi who was introduced to the world through the teachings of the Indian yogi Paramahansa Yogananda. Excuse my pronunciation. Babaji, as he's called for short, is said to be over 2,000 years old and able to travel between Earth and other worlds. He is said to have an invisible temple in the Himalayas that can appear to those he wants to connect with. Many believe that he is like Christ himself, bringing deep love, acceptance, forgiveness, insight, and direction. So the extended message to us here is, you may feel that you've retreated from the world recently. Maybe you've not been as active socially or spiritually, but this time of inner rest has really paid off, which is kind of this Hangman energy here as well. And also this Five of Stones, and kind of out in the cold, out on your own, kind of discovering things for yourself, learning how to deal with life without having support. It can also be a message from the Five of Stones. You are becoming more and more consciously aware of how connected you are to God, Source, Universal Energy, however you like to call it, and all living beings. This sense of union is called yoga. Yoga goes beyond physical ability and into a sense of awareness that's created through spiritual practice, meditation, and devotion to the divine. Maharavata Babaji, the yogic father, is here to inspire that fire of union within you, so that you can understand how your thoughts and actions are creating the waves of energy that form your life, which is this manifesting magician energy as well that I was talking about earlier. But also, interestingly, this is like the balance of the masculine and the feminine. This is like the peaceful warrior energy. And if you watch my astrology video as well, you will hear me talk about that, because there is a very interesting aspect that is happening at this time, and is going to continue right the way through until December. In fact, it's going to continue beyond December. But there is a planet out there, well, not a planet actually, it's an asteroid, but or a dwarf planet that is connecting with Saturn, which is said to be Saturn's higher octave. And for me, it's kind of embodying this energy here. It is the peaceful warrior, the kind of masculine energy that has not been allowed to really be, particularly in the West. And of course, we kind of went over and conquered the East and tried to force them into being more like the West. So that's a very interesting card. I'm also seeing this cobweb here behind his head as this energy here, and he also came out in reverse as well. So it's kind of showing up for me in a very similar kind of way. I don't know if you can see that behind his head. And also that one there. It's a bit blurry. It's probably better if I do it like that. So it is talking about conscious awareness, becoming more aware of our divine connection to all things. And so I'm going to leave the reading there and say thank you very much for coming over and listening to it. I hope that you've enjoyed it and maybe learned something from it, got something from it. I know my readings are not traditional kind of tarot type readings, especially at the full moon and the new moon. So for some of you it may be too long. You can always come back, you can always pause it and come back and read it, which is what I do with a lot of YouTube videos myself. So again, just thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing second Aquarius full moon. Please like my video if you have found anything of any interest or have learned anything from it. And subscribe as well. Thank you very much those of you who do like and have subscribed. I really do appreciate it. I am trying to grow my channel. I'm really distracted by those lights in the background. I don't know why they're like that. I just keep having these weird things happening around me at the moment when it comes to lighting and stuff in particular. Anyway, again, I'm going to say thank you, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Please take care.